This video is about video podcasting equipment. If you want to turn your audio-only podcast into a video podcast and you don't know where to start, well, this is the video for you. In this video, I'm going to show you how to look good, sound great, and start attracting your dream customers, just like the pros. All right, so the first thing you need to start thinking about if you want to turn your audio podcast into a video podcast is your camera. You can do this in a variety of different ways. The simplest way is to simply connect your video content to your webcam. You can record your podcast right in front of your laptop. Say you have your show notes on your laptop. While you're reading off of it, you can simply look at your webcam. I'm saying this as the first example because it's usually a piece of equipment that we have that we don't utilize enough. The next step up is that you could definitely use your smartphone. The cameras and the camera quality that is built into our smartphones that we carry around with us everywhere we go is really fantastic, and we could utilize those as well. I recommend getting yourself a little tripod. This one I got in a package, but it's just a simple little tripod that holds your smartphone, and that way you can get those stable images, set up your shots ahead of time, and then record your podcast as you usually would, just now you have a video feed. Again, you can also get creative. You can use multiple smartphones or a mix of your smartphones and your webcams to get you different angles as well. And if you check out some of my other videos, I'll show you how to put your podcast together with multiple video feeds, which is pretty cool. You can also step it up a little bit more, put some more money, some more resources into your video, and you can upgrade to a DSLR or to an actual professional video camera. These are going to give you a different feel and a different look because of the mechanics of the camera itself. When you're looking at the cameras in your computer, like your webcam or on your smartphone, these are very, very small lenses. They don't get to move a lot. There's not a lot of customization that happens. It's mostly relying on software to make you look so great. But with a DSLR, with a manual camera, we're able to really finesse things. If I want to make the scene darker or brighter, if I want to blur out the background, or I want everything in focus, I'm able to do all of those on the camera. And yes, you can feed your camera into your computer and use it live as well. So all of these recommendations work for both live video as well as pre-recorded or evergreen content. So look at what your camera availability is right now. What do you have available to you so you can stop using "I don't have a camera" as the excuse. You want to transform your audio-only podcast into a video podcast because it's going to be visually engaging to people. So we want to look for really good quality video so that people will keep watching. So again, let's recap. We talked about webcams. They're right at our fingertips. Many of us have them already built in to the laptops we're using to read off our podcast notes anyways. So let's use that as a camera. We can also use our smartphones, which many of us carry around 24/7. So why not utilize that resource? And for those of us who want to put a little bit more money into the game for our podcast, well, then we can definitely get into DSLRs, we can get into dedicated movie cameras and all of that stuff. So definitely check those and let me know down in the comments below, what camera do you have readily available at your fingertips? Use this as a moment to commit to taking video, using video footage for your podcast. Now, we can use video in two different ways. We can use video as the main way of presenting our podcast, as in we stream the entire episode in video format to a video platform like YouTube, Or what we can do is create behind the scenes content that we're going to drip out in micro size on our other social media platforms like Instagram, and maybe some behind the scenes on Twitch, maybe some behind the scenes on your Pinterest, showing people how to do what you do, for example. But what I want you to think about is both of those strategies. How are you presenting your podcast in video format for people who want to watch the whole thing? And how are you utilizing video as a way to tease out the content, to create micro content that gets more visibility for your main episodes? So thinking about both of those strategies. What I love about podcasters is that they understand sound better than most content producers do. And what's beautiful about that is that we don't have to talk too much about what microphones you need to be using. Instead, what we need to think about is how our sound and our video are going to play together. How do the professionals do this? Well, in the world of film, there's this beautiful discussion that we have in the world of sound in film, and we talk about sound that comes from inside the scene and sound that comes from outside the scene. So you, as the viewer of the movie, we're going to refer to our podcast as a movie for a moment. If you, the viewer of our movie, you have this beautiful perspective where you can hear what a narrator is going to say that we in the scene can't hear. You're going to hear, it's kind of like going to a hockey game. I took my mom to a hockey game recently, and she was blown away by how quiet it is when you're actually in the stadium, because she's so used to listening to these hockey games on TV, where she has the announcers telling her what's happening play by play, where she has all the exciting music, she's got the commercials coming in and out, she's got all of that extra sound that's happening. So when she's deep in the roots of the game, when she's in the stands cheering them on, all she hears is the crowd and the athlete skates on the ice. It's a very different soundscape, a very different experience. So when you're creating the video version of your audio podcast, think about what sounds are existing that are in the scene and what sounds are outside of the scenes. We call this diegetic and non-diegetic sound. What I mean is, when you're thinking about your intro music that plays at the beginning of every episode, is that sound that people in the scene are going to be reacting to? I am personally a fan of dancing to my own intro music for my podcast episodes, so I will film that. But other people they'll think about having maybe an animation cover their intro so that they can interact just with their voice when the bumpers are done and it goes straight into the episode. So thinking about that as well. We also want to think about making sure that we have the best sound quality possible. This is something we definitely should be looking at before we even start the video cameras rolling. As podcasters, we know sound matters. That is how people are going to hear us. That's how they're going to connect with us. That's why they're going to stay and listen to us, because the quality of our sound is literally, it's soothing to your brain. What we're trying to do is make sure that we have that longevity. We have people listening to our full episodes, but they also are coming back for more. So we want to make sure that that pathway to their brain is as smooth as possible. So we want good sound quality. We want our sounds to make sense relative to what they're seeing. And we also, as we talked about before, we want to make sure that we have our faces, that we have some visuals to look into as well. So I like visuals, but the visual I like you guys doing, I like you guys taking action. So what you guys need to do today, take action, hit that subscribe button, join us for the journey. All right, so the third part of this process is thinking about what's going to happen after we've recorded, the editing process. And we've kind of touched on this previously. The way that you're really going to grab people's attention is when you have graphics that are going to stop them from scrolling. You need to give them visually something that's going to stop them in their tracks. We need to have something that's visually different. Yes, we can lean into the draw a line in the sand and stake a claim and exclude people so that they get peeved off and they want to comment. You can do all of that. But what I like to do instead is to put as much information that is relevant and important on our screens as possible. That way, even when we look at trends of how people actually consume media, we can see that on platforms like Instagram, for example, which is great for getting new people to your show. If we look at the trends on Instagram, people are watching Instagram videos and stuff on mute. That is like most people are watching video without sound. And this makes perfect sense. Remember commuting? Back in the day when we used to commute, you didn't want to be the rude person that had all the sound going, right? Again, when we're sitting in class, we're targeting students. Well, they're not going to be listening to your video with sound on. So do you have captions? Do you have a way of visually presenting what your episode is about? Is there a visual difference between this episode and the previous episode? When I have guests, for example, I like to feature my guests prominently. I like their names to be there. I like their logos to be there. I like their face in their video to be there as well. And I do this because visually that is very different when I have Sandy than when I had Barbara, because they look totally different. They bring their own expertise. So content is absolutely different, but the visual is what we're talking about at this point. So that's really important. Also, a lot of podcasters are going to send their podcast, even if we're just talking audio only, they're going to send their podcast off to an editor to be edited. Fabulous. Now we have to coordinate the video side of it. Audio editors are very different than video editors. So we need to make sure that we have that communication between our whole team. Connect your video editor and your audio editor together. Hopefully have them on the same team so that they're able to work together collaboratively so that you get the best audio quality and the best video quality. Because ultimately it's about quality of content and quality of presentation as well. So those are my tips for helping you turn your audio only podcast into a video podcast, because it's going to help you reach more people. It's going to help you open yourself up to a completely different audience, as well as being able to utilize different platforms that are really feeding the algorithm. Video is the top of the game at the moment, and you want to be part of that. And if you want more strategies and tactics for building up your visibility, whether it's for your podcast or for your online course or for your business, whatever it is, then definitely click the link down below and check out the Visibility Hacking Secrets training. I put together a video vault with all of these different trainings that are going to help you level up your influence, your authority, and ultimately your income online. So check that out in the links below. And in the meantime, check out one of these videos because I think you'll enjoy it. The algorithm thinks you'll enjoy it, but ultimately I want you to start getting results.